So, Biohazard sent me $20. Let's read Operation Echo Mike 1. We got a distress call from one of the bases that they were being attacked by an unknown force. Me and a squad of about 30 soldiers all geared up and headed out to the helicarrier. I thought it was a bit much to send so many of us for a simple distress, especially a call to a high-tech military lab. Everyone on the craft was pumped and ready to kick some ass, except me. I was worried. How could someone or something get past the security of one of the most high-tech and heavily fortified bases on this planet? All the soldiers were a bunch of high-strung kids right out of high school or college. And all they wanted to do was to shoot something, and, well, now's their chance. I didn't want to go on this trip. Not after what happened back at home. But it was the only way to get away from the carnage. After shooting one of my majors, they made me go on this call as punishment to watch over everyone like a damn babysitter. He went nuts and started a rampage. Killed 5 civilians because he thought they were possessed, so I had to stop him. I opened fire on him and put him down. They put him under arrest inside, and he was kept in base's jail block. They suspended me from duty for shooting a superior officer. They decided to give me a chance to redeem myself by going out on this mission, so I took it and here I am. As the carrier took off, I noticed that every one of the soldiers, including myself, had semi-automatic rifles and pistols. Strange. I thought this was a rescue mission from a high-tech lab and base. Why don't we have bigger guns? Better guns, even. This all seems so odd to me. Since I remember that back home, they were doing tests for advanced weaponry. Why couldn't we test it out here? Or at least use the new weaponry? Was the military hiding stuff from us? If so, why? What were they hiding? I ignored the thought. Maybe I was just paranoid that one of these gun-ho soldiers would shoot me whenever it is an accidental purpose. Most of them know why I ended up here, and if they didn't, I'm sure the others have already told them why. As we approached the base, something happened. We started to lose control and spun erratically. I got scared as hell, and so did the others. Then we crash-landed onto the surface. Where the helicarrier lay was next to one of the base's doors. Helmets and grenades lay everywhere on the floor of the ship, and outside the ship scattered everywhere. As I looked up, I noticed that some of the soldiers died from the impact. Either it had snapped their necks, or just the sheer impact killed them. I was able to break free from my chair lock, stood up, and observed the carnage. 3 soldiers didn't make it. The pilots didn't either. But one of them was missing. I thought to myself, he probably got launched out the window. The windows were cracked, but no sign of bodies anywhere. It was like as if the guy just walked up and left the carrier. I looted whatever was left of the carrier. All I found were extra pistol clips. Couldn't find one rifle anywhere, including my own. They were nowhere to be found, not even on the walls. Then I noticed all the surviving Marines were outside with them all and getting ready to do what we had come here for. I walked completely out of the carrier and looked around. All I saw were debris and bodies. So far, I've counted 10 dead soldiers and a missing pilot. I heard them chanting in the distance, sounding more and more pumped to go in and kill. One of them mentioned they should just kill everyone regardless of the threat. It all sounded very familiar, like my major before I shot him. I went to go over and tell him to stand down, but I got cracked in the head from behind by a soldier. I fell onto the sandy surface of the ground. As I looked up, the Marine who belted me said, "Hey, you stay here. We wouldn't want to have a case of friendly fire now, would we?" He smirked and walked away towards the group of now insane soldiers. I felt faint after being hit and passed out. Later on, I awoke from being knocked out. I looked at my radio clock. Wow, I was out for 2 hours and I didn't die out here. I got up and noticed that the door... I got up and noticed that the door was open and there were no soldiers to be found. All I had on me was a pistol, 4 clips of ammo, and a radio. I noticed it was turned off, so I turned it back on. Wish I kept it off. From what I heard coming out of the radio was terrifying and frightening. All I heard was gunfire and screaming. Help! Please help! Someone out there, please help us! It went on for about 10 minutes and then silence immediately followed, with the sound of ripping and growling noises behind it, as if these were Marines getting massacred. I went to turn off the radio when I heard nothing but silence. I hope it was all just a bad joke. But there wasn't a single sound. I talked on the radio. Hello, everyone in? Someone report in. Silence. I was alone and scared. Whatever this thing or things are killed in a... I can't. Bleh. Whatever this thing or things are, killed an entire squad of 20 men. I decided to go in through the back entrance. I gripped my pistol nervously, shaking as I started to walk towards the door. I pressed against the wall before I entered, palms sweaty, hands shaking. What on earth could those growling noises be? Never heard them before. So I walked into the base. My stomach turned and twisted at the sight of what I saw when I walked in. Looked as if one of the Marines was literally ripped apart, one arm to the left of his corpse, his leg to the right. Blood all over the floor and his guts were sprawled out everywhere. Who or what could have done this? This isn't human at all. As I looked away, I noticed what looked to be a skull and rib cage covered in blood. Looked as if something tried to eat the Marine and left partial bones and organs. There was a staircase just to the left of the entrance I came in, next to more pools of blood and mangled bodies. Probably one of the powerful ones. I walked up the stairs to find another dead body in a biohazard suit, which wasn't touched at all. I decided to put it on just in case I run into something. I went down the stairs to the main room. There's a hallway to my left. Of course, blood on the walls. Why did I expect that? I walked down only to see another ripped apart body. Yikes, what on earth could happen in this space? Seems like they didn't even defend themselves, like they haven't tried at all. Past the body was the door. I pulled the hammer back on my pistol as I proceed towards the door and open it. When I opened it, I noticed more dead bodies and what seemed to be someone bent over a dead one. I thought to myself, oh, medic healing someone, maybe we can get out of here. As I walked closer, I noticed that he wasn't doing his CPR or anything with his tools. He was the missing pilot. The hell was he doing? I got closer. He must have heard my footsteps because he turned his head to look at me. I guess he's alive still. He stood up fast, grabbed his rifle. I called out, hey, I'm glad to see another survivor. Why was I wrong? He turned towards me, pointing his rifle at me, made a growling noise towards me. His face was pale and bloody, flesh dangling from his mouth. He opened fire at me, but had horrible aim and was hitting the floor of the wall around me. I shot back a couple of times and nothing fazed him. Just grunted as I landed 3 shots on him. He finally ran out of ammo and ran towards me. I had to use this to my advantage. I shot him in the head and he fell hard, trailing blood as he slid backwards towards the stairs he came from. I reloaded and walked over to the body. See what happened to the crew? Or is this the team that made the distress call? I noticed he was eating one of the Marines before I walked in. Did he become some zombie? No way, they don't exist. I explored the room a bit before continuing. I saw that there was a lot of computers and hardware in this room. Of course, all equipment was smashed and destroyed. Maybe this was the room they contacted us from. There are dead scientists and soldiers in this room after all. Saw a couple of helmets lying on the ground for my crew, and took one, in case I run into more trouble. There was a lot of potions lying everywhere. Must have been the main room of the lab. There's a huge map on the back wall, pointing out where the bases are that are also under attack. Tons of them. I gulped and hoped that possibly the military was sending back up, but I didn't hold my breath. So I just kept going forward. As I kept going, I heard a faint growling noise and snarling. It sounded like a pig. I turned a corner and saw another soldier standing there with his back turned. He turned around and saw me, shooting at me immediately. I shot him more times than I had shot the last soldier to make sure I killed him. Finally, I was able to shoot him through his helmet and I dropped him. I collected the ammo from him and kept going. The next room was an open room with a huge window to the right. The floor was covered in radioactive chemicals. It looked like acid, with a small bridge to cross. I sprinted across the bridge, not knowing what was around. Snarling noises started to get louder as I proceeded to a door in front of me when I crossed it. I was scared. What was that noise? Why do I hear heavy footsteps? It sounded like claws scratching the metal surface. I decided to open the door slowly and saw this demon-looking creature. Red eyes and huge claws on his hands, spikes sticking out of his back, mouth, blood dripping from it, and as well as flesh dangling from the mouth. I opened fire, but it had little effect on it. I had to think fast. All I had was 2 clips. Before I knew it, I was slashed by this demon, cutting clear through my armor, nearly cutting me in half. I stumbled back. I noticed a TNT barrel to the right of the demon. It's my only chance, otherwise I'd be cut to pieces. So I unloaded on the barrel, and it exploded. It sent me flying back to the wall, breaking my biosuit. The demon blew up. Blood and guts were flying through the air, and a spike went past my head and into the wall. I got up and saw an elevator to the back wall. So I limped towards the door. No way I was going to make it. At this rate, I'd bleed out if I didn't get first aid. I opened the elevator. To my surprise, a first aid kit. I patched myself up, reloading my gun, and took a breather. I thought back to why we were sent here without warning, or why we came here. Were we set up? Was this meant to be a cover of a failed experiment? I remembered, though, something about the lab experiments on traveling on to other dimensions. Shit. This might be a setup from the beginning. No wonder they were quiet about this, just sending us here without any idea what the mission is. Here I am in an elevator, by myself, no backup. The elevator only went to 1 floor. Floor 2, nuclear plant. I sat up, walked over to the button to press it. I noticed another helmet on the ground, but this one was different. The back of it read, "Made for the UAC." At that moment, I realized I was in for the long haul. I was in an abandoned Deimos Labs on Phobos. I'm going to make sure I send every last demon and zombie back to hell where they came from. I slammed the button and cocked my pistol because they were all doomed. The end! Yes. It was a doom fucking creepypasta.